Hello and welcome back to the channel. As we are getting ready for this baby, of course I am feeling big nesting feelings, and so it is time to jump into this kitchen and get things organized, especially our pantry, which is where I'm going to be today. And I am mustering up the enthusiasm to get in here and just get it organized. It is quite a big mess, and I don't even know what half of the things are that are in here. So it'll be good to get a fresh look at everything. As I'm sure you're aware, that is why you're probably watching this video, because you want to do the same thing. But I keep thinking about what is the best way to organize your pantry, and honestly, I have not found the answer yet. I hope that it'll come to me as I work on this today. But I've heard of lots of organizing systems, and every time I imagine myself actually doing that and following through with it, I just I can't follow those ways. I'm not able to keep a list of what's in here, add to it every time I put new stuff in, take off what I take out. That just doesn't work for me. I've seen some fancy organizing systems where people put stuff in baskets or in glass jars, and while that seems ideal, that's just one more thing. Either it's hidden in the basket or I have to actually put it in the jar and keep the jar full, you know? So that's using my time in another way that isn't productive for me anyway. And so I'm hoping that while I work on this cabinet today that I will get some sort of wisdom. Who designed these kitchen cabinets? I don't get it. They're thick and wide, and what I mean is like, you know, kind of deep, and so everything is kind of stacked behind each other. There's no way to fully be able to see what's going on. We have so much food and abundance of things, and while it is a great blessing, it is also a curse, because how do you keep track of it? And I think right now the only answer I have is that it makes sense to just regularly be unpacking this drawer, seeing what's all in here, and packing it back in. And so that's what I'm going to do today, but hopefully I can come up with some kind of system that makes a bit more sense to not have to do this so regularly, or at least for a little while until after this baby arrives. So let's jump into it. I'm going to do what I usually do and just unpack every single thing, give the base of the counter a nice clean wipe, and then see what is the best strategy from there to pack everything back in and keep it organized. We just used to eat in a totally different way. I mean, I'm seeing things here that we used to love, like having this almond milk in our smoothies, for example. So we would buy a lot of it from Costco, but we haven't done that in a while, and so now we just have the last box that we never finished in this cabinet. We also used to make a lot of things with tuna. So I've got these big cans of tuna that we haven't eaten in a while. Nothing wrong with it. But there is some stuff here that we probably won't eat with anymore. Like right now, what's left in that cupboard is a bunch of cans of beans. Well, a whole bunch of beans, black beans, green beans. Some that are already kind of made up with some kind of meat. Just a whole bunch of extra food that we haven't touched for a long time. And obviously those things have expiry dates, so they're said to last a very, very long time, although the expiry date isn't all that long. I don't know what we're going to do with that. I'll have to ask Walter what he wants to do with it. But clearly the problem of this cabinet is that, well, as you can see, it's awkward to get into the corner there. It's not on a Lazy Susan, and so I can't just spin things around and get a good look at what's in the back. And so things do just get hidden there. Like I just bought new peanut butter, unfortunately, when we had 2 other jars of peanut butter that I just didn't know we had because, well, the thing wasn't organized. It was probably hidden behind something else and I just didn't even know. Same with the salt. Heaps of salt. Heaps of honey. What a sad, sad thing. Huh. Having too much and not knowing that we have it, and maybe that is the problem, is when we have too much food like this. We end up just buying more because we can't even see that we have it, you know. That's just the silliest thing. I think for now I'm going to clean the front of this, yeah, just the drawers, just give them a nice wipe out. There's lots of, you can feel like salt or sugar crumbs everywhere and stickiness. So I'll get that cleaned up for now and think of a plan. Oh, and the other thing I want to do is, we canned this pumpkin really recently, actually just this past week, and I'd like to give these jars just a proper wipe down and label them because they are not labeled yet. So I'll get that done too and think of a plan. Okay, that's intense. Note to self, if you're pregnant, do this right away. Don't leave it for your 3rd trimester. Anyway, it's going okay. I'm gonna give you a tour of that now. What I've decided to do is just, well, not use the back, not use the part where I can't get to. If you think about it, we really don't need that much food stored in here. Just because the cupboard is as big as it is, doesn't mean I have to use all of it, especially if I can't reach the back, you know? No one can even see in the far back, so it's sort of like a useless, wasted space. That's probably why they invented the Lazy Susan, so that it can spin and you can see what's back there. Well, we don't have one, so I'm just not going to use that space. I've just decided it can be empty. That way I can still reach everything from the front here. Oh yes, and then I also just arranged everything in lines, the cans specifically. I arranged the cans in line so that a whole line would be the same thing roughly, like either some kind of beans or some kind of beans that have already been cooked up, but something like a chili, or just a whole line of evaporated milk, something like that, so that at least the whole line I know is the exact same thing, and if it is going all the way to the end, that's how much we have. But the first thing in that line is what the item is, or what the items are. So hopefully that'll help kind of keep things organized and give me a rough idea of how much we have, but also what kinds of things we have. I can just look at the front, and that's kind of all the variety of what we have in here. And then not using the back will help me be able to actually reach the things and use it up and not put too much in here, because you know, empty space can so easily be filled. So I'm going to clean these jars, just give them a wipe before I pack them in here. Now we plan to do a whole lot more canning before the baby comes. It's just so convenient to reach in and grab a jar of mince that's already been cooked and make something with it really quickly. So we'll probably do a whole bunch more, which is helpful because there's this whole, well, the whole top level is open, and yeah, there's just a lot more room for our own jars of food instead of buying canned food like we used to do in the past. Alright, now we used to keep this extra cupboard up here for easy pantry items. Obviously this is not big enough for a pantry, and so it always kind of overflowed in there. And I never knew, basically if I had too much of anything, because I was sort of just consulting this cupboard here, which actually you can see much easier what you have and don't have. They're not as deep as those down there. But it wasn't big enough for everything that we need in the pantry, so I'm actually going to relocate the things from here to down here and hopefully use this cupboard for something else. Now that we have all this extra room down here and things are actually organized and we're getting rid of some things we're not using. Alright, that is another cupboard cleaned up. I actually do store these bigger bags of things like mung beans or quinoa, things like that, in smaller jars just because it's more convenient to take that out than taking out this whole bag every time we cook. So I've got any kind of like bagged things like hemp hearts, some chia seeds, there's some quinoa back there, and what else? I think dates and raisins. Yeah, so bagged stuff here. These are my cereals. I eat these pretty much daily, so these bags will come in and out here daily. Behind that, I've got pickling salt, house salt. I bought that a while ago and I just need to finish it up. So I've labeled it P and H so I know, and there's boxes beneath them that are still full, so we've got to use those up. Then I've got some apple cider vinegar there, the first bottle which we need to use up, and then a full bottle behind it. And then over here beside the cereal, I've got just a row of rice. Some brown rice in the front with some, it's hard to see now because the salt is falling down on it, but I've got some other kind of rices back there that I can make risotto with and things. The peanut butter back there, which I can see with my eyes, so that's good. The honey over there, which I can see with my eyes. Coconut oil right up front here because we use that often, and then I've also got some back there, which I can see the lid, which is good, and then tahini right in front of that. In front of that, I've got this pickling lime, which I'm going to use very soon here, and I think some couscous, which I'll use that pretty soon. This is my sort of pasta section. I've got some pasta up here, some lasagna, whole wheat pasta, and some egg noodles. Back there, which we don't use often, is just some pap, which is the South African cornmeal. I've got 2 bags, and then one that we're gonna use first right up at the top. So that is the top drawer, or shall I say top cabinet, and if you take a big look at it from here, you can pretty much see everything that you have to see. It's not stacked so full that I won't be able to know what. Oh yeah, and that big bottle back there is just some peri-peri sauce. So that's good. I can see everything that's in here, and I think that will really help me know what I all have. At least now I have an updated view. Down here is our canned goods. So you'll see that I labeled whatever's in the front. The whole row will be some stuff that is similar. So like for example, these black beans, this will be a whole stack and row back of some kind of bean. Same with this, whether it be peas or beans. I've just put this here because I don't know where else to put it, but I think the first 3 rows here are just plain beans. Then we have some milk products, so evaporated milk, coconut milk, followed by some beans that have been either made into a chili or some kind of mixture, like it's not plain beans, I can't just add that with anything. Then we have some cream of mushroom cans, a row of tomato cans, and then a row of tuna. So pretty organized. And then down here I've got just some tomato paste. There's just a few down there. And then our canned goods over here, a row of tomatoes, pumpkins, and mincemeat for now. So at least I can look at the front and know what I'm looking at, what is in here, and I know that the whole row behind that is something that is similar, and when that row runs out, it is finished. And we hope to get through these canned goods anyways and start replacing it with these where we actually know what's in them. We used to not can our own food, but we're slowly starting to do that now. And also cook more dried goods like dried beans and things, but these are handy to have on hand if I don't have any that are pre-soaked or the time to cook them. And then I just have this jar of olives, which is just gonna stay right there because I'm not keeping heaps of olives. So that's the pantry. Alright, I've got, oh yeah, some other things over here that are tea related that are gonna go. I think that'll be the new tea cabinet, so stay close if you are interested in organizing your teas as well. And I'm gonna put this in that basket of overflow and wrap this up. Remembered while putting this away that I used to keep these jars over here just because, well, they're kind of pretty to look at. And I don't actually have another spot in the kitchen for them yet. I'm going to do the rest of the pantry tour later on, so check back for that, and then maybe these will have moved to a different spot. And now we have a nicely organized kitchen cabinet. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope that this has been helpful to you as you're also thinking about cleaning your kitchen pantry. I'm sure of it. And I hope now you also have the inspiration to go and do this with some kind of tips and tricks, but also just another way of doing it and just some inspiration to get going. So good luck to you, and if you like content like this, please stick around and subscribe to this channel and support us, and then you can catch some of our upcoming content. Alright, see you, bye.